Namaste. We are going to talk and know more about Aitareya Upanishad, which belongs to the Rigveda. Rigveda Shakha Aitareya. Now, this is one Shakha which has everything. Shakala Samhita, Aitareya Brahmana, Aitareya Aranyaka, and Aitareya Upanishad. Right? And this Aitareya, the name comes because of the Rishi who composed all this. His name is Mahidasa Aitareya. Itara was his mother, and because of her, he got the name Aitareya, which is quite common practice in those times. Satyakama Jabala also became Jabala because of Jabala, his mother, etc. But what is very interesting is this Aitareya, the name, we get a similar sounding name in Avesta. And as we all know, Vedas and Avesta definitely have a cultural, ritual, and mainly phonetic connection also. There we have, in Avesta, we have a Rutvik, a priest, who is called Aitareya, and which is nothing but the Avestan way of pronouncing Aitareya. This is what the scholars say. I tell you this just so as to tell you how Aitareya was there from quite immemorial times. Very interestingly, as we all know, Rigveda is the Gangotri of all Vedic literature. But amongst the 10 Mukhya Upanishads, Aitareya Upanishad is the only one which belongs to Rigveda. There are many which belong to Samaveda, Yajurveda, of course, and Atharvaveda, but the Veda, which has a lot of philosophical suktas, surprisingly has only one Aitareya Upanishad, and that is also very small, and that also philosophically is not very advanced. Of course, it talks about Atman and all those things. So let's see the contents of the Upanishad now. The first line of this Upanishad is Atmava idameka eva agra asit. In the beginning, as I think I told you, that all philosophy ultimately aims at Srushtyutpatti, or the creation of the universe, right? And therefore, it begins with that, which is no wonder, because in the Rigveda itself, there are so many suktas which think and talk about Srushtyutpatti, creation. Which are they? We have Purusha Sukta, we have Hiranyagarbha Sukta, we have Nasadiya Sukta, and all these have reflected in Aitareya Upanishad. So this Atma, by which they probably mean Brahma, was alone and it decided to procreate. It said, I'm alone, so let me have company. And then it created 4 lokas. This is a unique concept of Aitareya Brahmana. We typically talk about 3 lokas, Trailokya. We all know that. But here there are 4 lokas. The first one is Ambas, which is beyond the sky. That is the ultimate end of the universe. The universe is endless, but the ultimate part of universe. The second one is Maricha. Marichi is rays, as we know. And Marichi or Maricha is the area what is later on called Antariksha. And the third word, a very crude word I would say, is Maraloka. Maraloka is Mrityuloka, that is earth, Prithvi. And the fourth one is Apa, water, of course we know that. And Patala is indicated by water. This. So just imagine how the first idea itself is unique to Aitareya Brahmanam. And then from this water, Apa, the word used is very nice, Apa Garbha. That Apa Garbha, from that a Hiranya Purusha was created. And that Hiranya Purusha is going to create the entire universe now. But just see this. In Rigveda, we have Hiranyagarbha Samavartatagre, Bhutasya Jatasya, etc. So we have Hiranya word from that, and we have Purusha Sukta. So both these come together, and Nasariya Sukta in Rigveda, which tells you that Salilameva Guldamagra Ase. So in the initial stage, there was only water. So all these three ideas have been brought together in one sentence, that four things were created, four lokas, and Hiranya Purusha was created. And from Apagarbha, firstly, this Hiranyapurusha came and then he created everything. First, he created Devas, the gods, Agni, Vayu, Indra, etc. We won't go into the details, but gods were created. God said, we want company and we want avasatha, that is, we want a place to reside. And therefore, you know what was created? First, they brought a cow in front of, they, in the sense, this Atman or whosoever the creator was, it brought cow in front of the gods. God says, Nayam alamiti. This is not enough. Then they got horse, Ashwa, Nayam alam. And then man was created. And the gods were very happy and they started residing in Indriyas, sense organs of these human beings. For example, Agni went into the mukha or mouth. Then Vayu, of course, went to the nose. And Chandra, I mean, everything is given, but I will just give you some salient examples. And Chandrama, it went into the mind. Again, Purusha Sukta. Chandrama manaso jata. It tells you that what I want to bring about in front of you is Aitareya Upanishad so closely follows the Rigveda Samhita, which has never been done in any other Upanishads. They are kind of way separated from the actual Samhita, but it is very loyal to the Samhita itself. And this one thing, Chandrama manaso jataha, is very true scientifically also. You know, even today, people who have some psychiatric problem or psychological disorders, they say that these disorders increase when there is either full moon or new moon. Not only that, in English, a person who suffers from such things is called lunatic, where luna means nothing else but moon. Luna is moon, and so this idea, Chandrama Manaso Jata, definitely has some scientific basis also. So anyway, this was done. And then the next Kandaka, this is Srushtyutpatti, and after that, in the second chapter, it says something very different. Apparently, Vamadeva, who is again the composer of the entire fourth mandala of Rigveda, Vamadeva says something about three births of human being. It's very philosophical, metaphorical, and also a little bit scientific. It says there are three births, Janmani, for every human being. The first is, of course, which anybody can understand, is the time when the woman actually conceives the baby, right? And therefore, that is the first Janma. The second one is when the embryo grows inside the womb of the mother. This is also important because that is how the Janma, this Janma, it grows, and growth is a unique sign of living beings, right? The tables and chairs never grow, but human beings and living beings grow. So therefore, that is also important. Not only that, it says it's a foreign body, but since the embryo is a foreign body, but since it becomes a part and parcel of that woman, the mother, it does not, that is the embryo, does not harm or hurt the woman. We have to remember that, because we know that pregnancy is a very delicate, health-wise, very delicate thing for women, especially in those days. And therefore, this is also important. And the third Janma, of course, is the real birth. This is what Vamadeva tells us. And the name Vamadeva is specifically used there. Not only that, Vamadeva tells you in Aitareya Upanishad, he tells you that I knew all this knowledge when I was residing as an embryo in my mother's womb. So just imagine, this is a very peculiar thing for Vamadeva to say. And so he says that I knew this long before, and I tore away all he uses the word avarana, all the things which were surrounding me. This is what actually happens in birth, birthing the baby rather. And then I came out. Probably what they want to tell you is, if you tear away all the avaranas around you, you will get a real birth, real knowledge. And that is in the last, but which is a very short adhyaya. Aitareya tells you something which is really amazing. It tells you, and the Brahma Vakya of this Upanishad will be Pradnyanam Brahma. This is what they want to prove. But what is Pradnyanam? We also know that when you say Satchit Ananda, Chit is consciousness, and that is someone who knows. In fact, even in the West, the definition of human being is, not definition, but they say, Descartes has said this, I think, therefore I am. So thinking and knowledge and Atman and Brahman, they are on the same plane. But Aitareya gives you a list of words which are amazing. It says, Kim Nama Pradnyanam? Pradnyanam, Ajnanam, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Sadnyanam, Medha, Dhrutihi, Smrutihi, Jushtihi, Sankalpaha, Kamaha, Vashaha. You will be surprised that it analyzes this Pradnyana in so many ways. And Shankaracharya, in his Bhashya, has given wonderful explanation of all these different layers of Pradnyana. I don't want to translate the word Pradnyana, but you can imagine that Pradnyana, even in modern languages, we use the words in different ways, that memory or smruti is different from understanding, which is mati, or mati is thinking power, buddhi is grasping power. So all this has been told to us in Upanishad, this Aitareya Upanishad. So this is what, according to me, this is a very peculiar thing about Aitareya Upanishad. Firstly, the idea of 4 lokas instead of 3 lokas, 3 loka. Then secondly, the 3 janmans. I don't know why this Vamadeva's janman theory has come into this, but it emphasizes that. And lastly, Brahma is equated with Pradnyana, and Pradnyana is analyzed further into various layers, and that, or attributes I can say, and that is the beauty of Aitareya Upanishad.